Beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it, and there was no water upon it, and no birds. But it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars, like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years."
Okay, welcome. I just wanted to play that. I don't even think anyone's here yet, but we have me, who's out of focus, and there we go. And we have Thomas. And what we're doing is, I think hey, Tony's Coffee House is in the chat. What's up, Tony? Even though my live thing says 0. Okay, now it says 2. Do you think I should replay that? And then actually I should play a little bit more, I think. But I don't go ahead.
Maybe we wait for people to come on. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll wait a little while because I should have probably just started with me and you, and then
I mean, no, that's a good idea.
So this title of this is what was the title of this? I lost it. Where was it? It was They Lied, I think.
Who are they?
Yeah, who are they? Because last week, a week ago, right? I think it was a week ago, we talked about a different way to look at this deception that we're seeing, where it's coming from. And so I thought it would be appropriate to try to look at some of the scriptures that talk about specifically where this deception comes from. Because like Paul said in Ephesians, we're not struggling against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and the rulers of the darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places. And literally the words that are used there, it says that these evil, our struggle is against evil spirits that live in heaven, literally in heavenly places. That's where they are, is in heaven. So that's kind of a probably, I don't know, Thomas, do you understand where I'm kind of trying to go here?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Should I play that again? I feel like I should play that again.
Play it again.
It's less than a minute, but I might play it for just a little bit more than a minute. So
that continues on to 19, don't it?
I hope so. I'm not sure. I just grabbed the video, but I'm not sure. But if it doesn't, we will read chapter 19. So this is the book of Enoch, chapter 18, I believe. So here we go.
Beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it, and there was no water upon it, and no birds. But it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars, like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. And Uriel said to me, Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of."
Okay, so I'll just stop right there, and we'll go back to the screen.
That's a mouthful right there. Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot said there. It mentioned the well, it mentioned the fallen angels from Genesis 6, right? Is it Genesis 6?
So the wandering stars are the angels that came down and made the Nephilim?
It sounds like that because, well, it sounds like they're all working together or something, but this place where those 7 stars were bound, this place, this waste and horrible place where there was no water and no birds and whatever, it was made into a prison for those 7 stars. So then he says, and also the angels who took wives are also bound in this place, and they assume many different forms to defile mankind and to lead them astray. So if we're talking about our struggle is not being flesh and blood, so that if we were to look at it that way, we would look at all people, every person in the world to be just like you, choices to make, things to believe or not, and you know, it's a world of people, but there's some other force or some other evil that is not the people. So it's like what I would say about that is that it's not the truth that we talk about a lot, and the lie, the globe, that's what I talk about a lot anyway. That lie is being told by some other entities or whatever that are in the heavenlies, that are in the heavens. So this place where these 7 stars are imprisoned, and we're going to look at a lot of different scripture and apocrypha and stuff, but these entities are like they're in a prison, and I'm noticing that when NASA or SpaceX think they go into space, they're going into that prison. So, and this is, to me, it's all part of the story that's happening in the book of Revelation, in the book of Daniel, the book of Enoch. There's several different, but so what are the planets? Like, they're stars, right?
Yep.
And so that would be the 4th day of creation, God created 2 great lights, one, or the greater to light the day and the lesser to rule the night, or rule the day and rule the night. And he
Sun
made the
and moon.
stars also. Yeah. And he set them in the firmament of the heaven. So the stars, initially, when God created them, they were set in the firmament of heaven. And God gave those stars some sort of ordained course to follow, like a specific
Law.
order. Yeah, a law. Exactly. It was a law.
Yeah.
And all the stars in the sky, except for just 7, obeyed his law. Okay. So who are those 7, or what are those 7? Well, I do a little bit of whatever you call it, amateur astronomy or whatever, just looking through my telescope, and what I see the sky doing is exactly what Enoch is describing. But he's describing the solar system. But when he's seeing it, the angels aren't telling him that that's where the earth is. They aren't telling him that that's even really a place. They're telling him that that's a prison where these evil stars are bound until judgment. So if there was a deception like the globe, it would be coming from the planets, the wandering stars, those 7 stars. That's just one. That's just one. I mean, that's what the word planet, where the word planet comes from. It comes from the word planeo, which means to lead astray, or to cause to wander, or to go off course, to stray away from the truth. That's one of the meanings of that word, planeo. So to me, I just see, do you see where I'm going, Thomas? Maybe you can put it into words a little better than I can.
For sure. It's those stars are defiling mankind. They're taking them to be gods.
Yeah, what are they named?
They're named after Greek and Roman false gods. Yep, Jupiter, Mars,
Okay.
Saturn.
Okay, so since we're on the topic of what they're named, I have to play something just to keep it light. You know what I mean? I have to play a video that I grabbed or part of it.
You know, if you look back through history, like Plato's, they claimed that the Earth. They were beginning to think the Earth was a globe or a planet because moons were going around other planets.
Yeah, I think Galileo, when he looked through his telescope and he saw that those moons were orbiting Jupiter, or whatever, it looked like they were orbiting Jupiter, and then that added a lot of credibility to the idea of gravity and a solar system and orbits and all that. So I think because men look up there, they think they understand what's up there, and here we are being raised in a world that thinks there's a solar system up there when that's actually a bad place. It's a outer darkness. It's a, you know, I don't know the specifics if it's in the firmament or what it is, but it's in the heavenly realm. It's in the celestial realm, the spiritual realm. So when we look up at the stars, they're in the celestial realm. They're in the celestial sphere, or however you want to name it. They're part of heaven. Stars are part of heaven, and the planets are.
Listen,
They're doing something different than all the other stars.
listen to this. You were talking about the meaning of the word planet, and
Yeah.
I just put in the definition. It says, what does the word planet also mean? It says a planet is a celestial body that revolves around a star in our solar system. Earth is the third planet from the sun. The word planet comes from the Greek planetus, which means wanderer. Since ancient times, people have been fascinated by the wandering of the celestial bodies in the night sky. Huh.
Yep, because they do
Pretty much what you
different
just said.
motion. Those seven, it's almost like they're special because they do different motion than all the other stars. They have retrograde motion and they appear to go they basically, all the other stars are doing this constant rotation, and it's a circle, and it's it never stops, it never ceases. And to me, these other stars, they're changing their orbits, they're doing their own thing, they are wandering stars, you know. So that's probably, I mean, we're going to look at the book of Jude, which mentions these wandering stars being reserved in the blackness of darkness. So if we just keep it simple, the planets are not in a solar system, they are in a prison that was probably not part of God's creation. Do you know what I'm saying? It had to be it had to become a place or something, or maybe it already was, I don't know. But it's a bottomless pit. It's a place where everything's falling. And that's exactly what NASA and SpaceX say the solar system is. Everything's falling around something else.
Or he took a place he had already ordained for them.
Yeah, probably. Because
Yeah,
he it's not like he has any question about, oh, I
Yeah.
wonder what they're gonna do. Pretty sure
Correct.
he knows.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take it just a second for a little sort of comedy. How do we do this? Okay, right here. Here we go.
Gonna sound pretty crazy.
Spacefaring entities. Just the launch is difficult enough.
Can't really give you much of a clue as to where this data ended up.
A city on Mars.
Jupiter,
Jupiter,
Saturn,
Saturn,
Uranus.
Uranus,
What?
Uranus,
No, Uranus.
Uranus.
Everyone just thinks rockets just go up.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond.
Okay, so I just wanted to play that because that little girl was funny.
Yeah, it's funny and sad at the same time.
It's
Kinda.
very sad because if the devil was going to deceive the world into destroying the world, and maybe, well, like you actually mentioned before we went live, you were talking about the kings of Media and Persia in Daniel's vision. These were fallen angels that was it Gabriel? I think it was Gabriel. Or no, maybe it was Michael. I can't remember. Whatever angel he was that came to him he was like held off 21 days because of these fighting with these kings of Media and Persia. Or I think it's the prince of, maybe it says the prince, I can't remember, but they're fallen angels. They're spirits of fallen, and that's exactly what I think is happening when the Falcon 9 rocket is going. I mean, I'm just saying it seems that Daniel was saying that these beasts are not just metal machine things. They are spirits of the of the kings of Media and Persia, and I'm thinking for some reason I'm thinking of Jeremiah 51, where
about Daniel 8:20 right there. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
Yeah.
And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
And see, a lot of the people that I like teachings or whatever that I've ever heard about this specific part, they're not thinking of it like that. They're saying like Alexander the Great, and they're talking about history. And I'm like, this is not history. This is at the end of the world. Daniel was told that that he would have to come and prophesy, or no, what did it say? He'll stand in his lot at the end of days. There's a reason why Daniel was shown these visions.
Yes, Daniel 8:26, and the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut up thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days.
Yeah, so and I'm sure people could make the argument, well, that Alexander the Great and all that stuff happened in many days. Who knows? What I know is that, is it in Daniel 7 that it mentions these things are, or maybe that's in Daniel 12 even. I'd have to look, but
right here it says in Daniel 7:26, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end.
Yeah, unto the end. So it's not a vision of something that happened after that's history now. It's of the end.
Unless,
and the only reason why I know that is because it's in our world. We can see it clearly happening.
For sure. Unless you're going to say that Alexandra or whoever destroyed, treaded down the earth and broke it in pieces.
Yeah, and also went up to the sanctuary of God and defiled it.
Yeah, cast the stars down.
Yeah, see, it's something that happens at the end. It's not something that's already happened, I believe. So 1 John or 2 John. No, it was 1 John chapter 2, I think is what we were looking for. I went 2 John. Let me just see if I got the right one. 2 verse 26. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Okay, this talks about eternal life. I think it's important to read this. This is in 1 John chapter 2, verse 24. It says, as for you, let what you have heard from the beginning remain in you. Oh, you know what? I got the wrong version or something. I don't know what version I have. I usually like the KJV, just for some reason I'm used to it.
Me too.
Okay, so 24 says, let that therefore abide in you, which ye have heard from the beginning. If that which ye have heard from the beginning shall remain in you, ye also shall continue in the Son and in the Father. And this is the promise that he hath promised us, even eternal life. So to me, when it's talking about eternal life, it's talking about the beginning, to have that abide in you, what you heard from the beginning. And
Creation.
I think it's creation. It's about creation. If you believe what Genesis says, or 2nd Ezra chapter 6, or there's accounts of creation, these 6 days of creation that are very specific. What day God made things. We already mentioned the 4th day he made the sun and moon and stars. The 2nd day he made the firmament. The 1st day he said, let there be light, and there was light. Like there all these specific things, and I think this is talking about that. Let that abide in you, And then in the next verse, it says, "These things have I written to you concerning them that seduce you." And the reason why this verse comes up is because when it says seduce you, that word is planeo. That
Yep.
word, it's saying to lead you astray. So these things have I written to you concerning them that lead you astray. But the anointing which ye have received of him abides in you, and ye need not that any man teach you, but as the same anointing teaches you of all things, and is truth, and is no lie, and even as it hath taught you, ye shall abide in him. I think that creation is a part of believing in God, like believing in Jesus. What
he declared.
Yeah, because if
Yeah.
when he, like, this is something that people probably think is off the wall, but I'm going to say it anyway because I believe it. You know how Jesus would teach in the synagogues, and he would preach the gospel of the kingdom of God into the synagogues, and remember how the Pharisees had this hate for him? They had this they just hated him, and they hated that people were listening to him. I have to say that there's something like that happening today.
For sure.
And when Jesus was crucified, I think that the reason why was because he was telling people about the creation that he spoke into existence. Are you getting that weird sound thing?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is mute when you're talking.
Oh, okay. Sorry if is that what it is? Your Bluetooth or something?
No, I'm not hooked to it. My radio's off, so I don't know. I can see my mic kind of bouncing while you're talking, though.
Yeah, and actually when you mute, it does stop doing it. It sounds better on my end anyway. I hope everyone can see or can hear okay. Sorry about that, Tommy. Thanks for doing that. I hate to make you mute. That's a lot of work.
Oh, you're good.
So okay, where should we go? Who's they? Like, who's they? What, how everyone that sees this deception, or everyone that sees the truth, they're like, they lied. Like Austin Whitsitt says, they lied about the shape of the earth. And I think that Austin knows that it's not just people. I think everyone that sees this truth knows that it's not just people doing this. But it's hard. It is hard to look at and say, oh, because there's a lot of ideas that people have: the Freemasons, the Jesuits, the Pope, or the Vatican. I could go on naming a bunch of things that are just people. It's just people that are doing things, and we can't just sit and blame them if they're not the source of this deception. It's because it does nobody any good to. Do you get, maybe you can speak on that, Tommy? Like, just as far as how, what do we look like even to ourselves if we're making accusations that aren't even at all true?
No, you're definitely not exposing the enemy. That's got to be done. We got to know who the enemy is. That's for sure. If the enemy is defiling mankind and taking their soul, we need to know who the enemy is.
Yes.
I think the people that are being mentioned, I mean, they are serving this. They are serving the host of heaven. I'm not going to say they're not, but I
they
don't
want to go to space.
Yeah, I don't think they know what those hosts of heaven are.
No.
I think they're being defiled by them.
And I think
when I say
we were
they,
born into that. I'm sorry,
me,
I keep interrupting you.
That's all right. I think the they that are being defiled by the host of heaven, they take them to be like planets or places they can go inhabit and save life or create life, make another world.
Elon
Because
Musk.
they think ours is going to be destroyed soon. Or we're destroying it. I take them to be the wicked, man, because they're not. They don't serve the creator anymore.
And they're confused about the order of the stars.
Yep.
That's what Enoch said. Enoch called them sinners. The people that had the order of the stars confused, and they made error about it because, well, just I don't know why, but it called them sinners. in the book of Enoch. So here's the other thing is okay, hold on a minute. I saw this is in the book of Enoch, chapter 18. I saw there's 7 stars, like great burning mountains. So he sees 7 stars, and he, for some reason, compares them to great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. Okay, here's the solar system. Look at this. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. So when I read this, it says this place is at the end of heaven and earth. So that reminds me of a book called The Vision of St. Paul. And this is where he writes, the Apostle Paul writes about when he went up to the third heaven to see paradise. And he writes in depth about going there. And one of the things, I'll read it here. One of the things that caught my attention was the angel was going to show him the place of the just where they're led when they're deceased, which would be like Abraham's bosom, right? Am I understanding that right?
Yep.
And it
You got
says,
the place for the righteous souls and the place for the unrighteous souls.
yep. And yeah, and it says here, this is in the Vision of St. Paul. It says, and after these things, taking thee into the abyss, I will show thee the souls of sinners and what sort of place they are led into when they have deceased. So there, he mentions 2 places right there. One is where the just are deceased or stay when they're deceased. And then the other one is the sinners, the souls of sinners, where they have been led when they are deceased. And the interesting thing about this is all happening while Paul is being taken up into the heavens, like in his spirit or whatever. So he's going up, and the angel's saying, yeah, and then I'll take you to the abyss and show you that after I show you where the souls of the just go when they're deceased. So that's interesting. But so then it says, and I proceeded back after the angel, and he led me into heaven. And I looked back upon the firmament, and I saw in the same place power, and there was oblivion, which deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men. I'll stop right there, Tom. What do you think that's saying, Thomas?
They're drawing down the hearts of men. It's this solar system idea.
Like,
the place
let's go to Mars, right?
Yep. They're taking them to be, what is God? God created the earth for us, right? Gave us a place to live. God is the creator of earth. Supposedly, that's what they believe in. That's what we're supposed to believe.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking the wandering. I know Mars for sure. They think they can go live there. They're like spending trillions of dollars to go there. It's crazy. They're
And
building
that's their goal.
They're building devices like in a hurry. They're like
like in
they're
a
like
24 hours a day.
Yep.
They have SpaceX is building that Starship 24 hours a day in Boca Chica, and they're even starting to do it in they're building a launch tower and stuff at Cape Canaveral for the Starship. And I did a poll on my channel like probably 6 months ago or something, and I said, how many of you are aware of what SpaceX is doing in Boca Chica, Texas? And it was like 90% said they didn't know, and 10% said they did. And to me, I'm like, wow, that's going to be 90% of a lot of people that are surprised when the sky rolls up like a scroll. Like, I'm not saying that I know that the Starship's going to do it, but it just seems that's got the juice to shake the heavens, like more than any other thing man has ever made.
I'd be questioning, like, was the dragon just a when you see the dragon, then you're gonna know what they're involved in, and then because I always think of Job and Leviathan. I swear that starship just
Leviathan.
it makes me think of Leviathan. Because somewhere in one of the apocryphy books, it talks about he parted two creatures in the sea. Leviathan, I can't Lebemoth. I can't never say that name.
Behemoth.
Behemoth. Yeah, and I'm
think that's
thinking, is Behemoth like the Falcon Heavy, and Leviathan is the starship?
I don't
Because
know.
it talks about the scales on. It's talking about you can't draw it out of the waters. Who can draw it out of the waters with a hook? It says
Air
it's
can't
scales.
get between the scales. It says air can't
Yeah,
get between
I'm like,
them.
what do you mean air? Why? If it's in the ocean, why does it need air? What's it talking about air?
It's in the waters above.
Yeah.
You know what I like is Dr. Gene Kim from what's his church called?
Oh, for sure. I know what video you're talking
I
about.
can't remember what his church is called, but I like what he says. Like, I like his outlook. That guy, he just says Satan's up in space. Like, he just says that like it's a natural thing to him. He's just like, Satan's up in space. That's where he swims around. And I'm like, you couldn't be more accurate than that. Like, that's right on. Like, the Dragon capsule goes into those waters, that dark, deep, bottomless pit of dark waters, or whatever you want to call it, because it's above us. And there's some good questions in chat we want to look at too, or some good comments. Spooky had some good ones there.
Where's I just want to say a couple things.
Yeah.
The seven magnificent mountains, those are mentioned in Revelation also. That's what John called them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Whatever these mountains that are burning like fire, and he calls them seven magnificent mountains, it's the same thing that John called them in Revelation.
It is. And actually twice in Revelation, I think.
And
Revelation,
then where is the other scripture that talks about it's in Enoch, where he went in he saw no heaven above and no firmly founded earth beneath. I think that's a big one.
That should be in chapter 18. Oh yeah, it says, let's see here. And beyond that abyss, I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. And that's where he saw the stars.
Yeah, that sounds like space to me.
Yeah, it's the solar system, because then he says right after that, the stars which roll over the fire. If you look up at the sky, there's a big fire called the sun. Like, it's a giant hot ball or whatever circle of fire, and it's like makes our daytime, right? And
Correct.
he the stars which roll over the fire, and that's what, like, Astronomy Live is. He actually has helped me understand a little bit better than I did before, some of the motions of the planets, because I didn't understand, like, over the course of a year what or whatever what we would see if we took a picture every day. Do you know what I'm saying? And what we see is them orbiting the sun. It appears that they go around the sun. And then they say, well, we are too then, right? So they assume that we're going around the sun, even though we're not. So if there was these planets that were going to deceive the Earth, and if they were to take and make certain motions in the sky that would lead the people on the ground to say, hey, there's a possibility that we're just part of that system. And so all of a sudden we were born in a generation that believed that we're in a solar system. But it's very clear that the sun doesn't orbit or that the Earth doesn't orbit the sun. It's actually the sun that orbits the Earth. If you in the real world. I mean, the one that's outside, not a model or a map, but the real world you live in. If you go outside, the stars rotate above you, the ground is still, and we don't orbit the sun. Anyway, go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, and while you're talking about the sun, Ezekiel was lifted up between heaven and earth, and he saw in chapter 8,
He saw
he was
Jerusalem
shown, yeah, he was shown abominations that the house of Israel was doing. And
in the
it's right
midst of,
here.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's right here in what is this? He says right here in 12, hast thou seen what the ancient of the house of Israel do in the dark? Was that every man in his chamber of his imagery? I'm trying to find the one right here. They're weeping for Tammuz.
Okay.
Says, brought me into the inner court. This is 16 of the Lord's house, and and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men with their backs towards the temple of the Lord and their faces toward the east, and they worship the sun toward the east. I just wanted to throw that in there while you're talking about the sun and the solar system.
That totally applies. So what I totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about that. So the Lord was showing Ezekiel all these abominations that were being done in his temple, like not on the ground. Ezekiel was taken up between heaven and earth and into the visions of God in Jerusalem. And he said that God was there, or his presence was there, or whatever. And so God shows him all these abominations, and it like kept showing him worse and worse ones. He showed him the women weeping for Tammuz, and then I don't remember exactly, but he kept saying, "Oh, here's greater abominations that they do in the midst of Jerusalem." And the last one that he said was that he saw 25 men, and I think they were standing like outside the temple, or they were standing like outside of I don't remember what it was, but they were facing the opposite way. It's like they didn't even know where they were. They were facing the other way, and they're like worshiping the sun. They're facing the east and worshiping the sun. And I'm going, and my teacher in whatever elementary school taught me that we orbit the sun. Is that a coincidence?
It's what this world's doing right now. They've turned their back on God, and they're serving the host of heaven. They think that the sun is giving them life.
Yeah, I
sun.
had someone say that on a TikTok live I was doing the other day. They said they were talking about the SUN as if it were the Son of God, like SON of God. And I'm like, no, he made that, but that's not him. But let's see here. So let me go back to, or let's check out some comments here. I wanted to read. Spooky says, was Abraham's bosom or paradise moved out of Sheol to the heavens when Jesus took the keys to death and the grave? That one, I'll give you an answer that you probably wouldn't expect, and then I'll let Thomas tell you what he thinks. But Abraham's bosom and paradise being in Sheol, I mean, that's in heaven. Sheol is a part of heaven. And the way I explain that is that when we die on this earth, our body the people that surround us in our lives that remain, they take and they build a casket and they put our body in the ground. It's a thing that in the second Ezra's, it's like God told Ezra to do that when you bury someone when they die. And that's not, once your body dies, your soul or spirit or whatever does go to another place. And like the righteous would go to Abraham's bosom, and the wicked would go to Sheol. And I think Abraham's bosom is in Sheol, or it's the same place, I think, but there's kind of like there's like two parts of it, a good part and a bad part, or something like that. And so when you were saying, because Jesus went into the heart of the earth, and I think that what you say here took the keys to death and the grave. Like, there's something about that I don't understand, but it almost seems like he did like rescue people from there. But my understanding is that Sheol is in the heavens. It's not, it's a part of the spiritual realm or the celestial realm. It's not a physical, material place like the earth. But it doesn't mean it's not real. I'm saying that it's as real as the stars are, and as real as the bottomless pit is Sheol is also. I mean, I think it's probably the same part of the same place as the bottomless pit. But again, I say that is in the heavens, and we're going to go over a lot of books that describe that. Go ahead, Thomas.
I think it was removed when Adam and Eve transgressed. They were taken out of it, and then it was, I don't know. I think maybe it was put back up, placed back in heaven. Maybe it was on the earth at one time.
Maybe it's in the north.
In the sides of the north, correct? I think there's like two different. There's that separation. There's that what is that called in Enoch? Like a gorge, like a
great divide, or something like that.
Kind of like the great divide, yeah, where there's the good souls on one side, and the bad side with the unrighteous souls. I think on the good side is like Jerusalem, the city, Eden, the garden, Mount Zion, the mountain of God. And then on the other side, you've got there's like abysses, is what Enoch says. There's more than one abyss.
Yes.
But I think the abyss that we're been serving is where those wandering stars are at.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe we can, obviously we can't see it all from Earth. We're seeing what our physical eyes can see, but there's like so much going on up there. I think there's 4 rivers up there. I think in Revelation where it's talking about, preparing the way for the spirits and Euphrates being dried up. I think that's up there. I don't even think that's happening on the earth. I mean, they saying it's happening right now, but I might be wrong on that. I don't know. I think Jesus was referring, when Jesus was speaking of things, I think he was speaking of things more heavenly than this whole world even knows in the scriptures. I mean, that's the way I see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I think a lot of it's got more to do with heaven than the people that are teaching out of the Bible know. I get a whole different prospect of it. I listen to Isaiah and I listen to these books and I'm like, that doesn't sound like what I've been told. That sounds something totally different. I don't know.
Yeah. Son Spooky says, Jesus said to the good thief, "You will be with me this day in paradise." Yet we are taught that Jesus descended to Sheol for 3 days. So was paradise still in Sheol when he told the thief that? It's a good question. And I know that there's a little bit of a dispute about these words and the wording, because I don't know exactly, but like what I would say is that and this is just my understanding. It doesn't mean I'm right, but when someone dies, when like anytime that someone dies, their spirit goes up into heaven. I'm not saying exactly where in heaven, but their spirit goes to heaven, because otherwise where would it be? And people say, well, it'd be in hell. Well, that's part of the heavenly realm. Hell is.
The Ascension of Isaiah would help us with this, because they say that if he's saying that he went to Sheol, yeah, you got to go through Sheol to get to paradise.
Yep. And
Sheol is the place between heaven and earth.
Yes, it's between the heaven and earth. Yes. So I have the Ascension of Isaiah right here. And what was it in chapter 6? It was in his vision. Yeah, that's what it was. He had a vision where he went up through the 7 heavens. And here it is. Let's see. So obviously, if you're going up through the 7 heavens, you have to go up through the firmament, right? And Isaiah mentions what he saw in the firmament. And so I'm going to see if I can find that here. Okay, so this angel comes to him, and having seized me by my hand, he raised me on high. And I said to him, Who art thou, and what is thy name? And whither art thou raising me on high? For strength was given me to speak with him. So this angel comes and gets him. I'm just kind of going to skim a little bit. So then the first place he's going is to the firmament. It says, let's see. So the angel tells him, For this purpose have I been sent from the seventh heaven in order to explain all these things unto thee. And we ascended to the firmament, I and he, and there I saw Samuel and his hosts, and there was great fighting therein, and the angels of Satan were envying one another in the firmament. And then it says, And as above, so on the earth also, for the likeness of that which is in the firmament is here on the earth. And I said unto the angel who was with me, What is this war, and what is this envying? And he said unto me, So has it been since the world has been made until now, that this war will continue till he whom thou shalt see will come and destroy him. And afterwards he caused me to ascend to that which is above the firmament, which is the first heaven. So Isaiah, son of Amos, gave an account of seeing Satan's angels in the firmament fighting with each other.
The war in heaven.
Yeah. And then actually when he comes down through the firmament, so he goes up, and then at the end of the vision here, I think it's in chapter 10, he says, when we went through, okay, so then the Most High, the Father of Jesus, it says, saying to my Lord Christ, who will be called Jesus. Isn't that interesting? Who will be called Jesus? That's awesome, I think. But so this is the commandment or whatever that the Most High was giving to Jesus. And he says, Go forth and descend through all the heavens, and thou wilt descend to the firmament, and that world, to the angel in Sheol thou wilt descend. But to Haguel thou wilt not go. And thou wilt become like the likeness of all who are in the five heavens. So then they go down, and when they get to the firmament, let's see, fourth heaven, second heaven, first heaven. Okay, here we are. And again, he descended into the firmament where dwelleth the ruler of this world. That's pretty clear right there. So that's what that. Go ahead, Thomas. What do you think?
Yeah, that's Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people say, I hear a lot of truthers say that's God. That's the Most High.
No.
No, that the prince of this world is Satan. But when I read Isaiah, this is what I'm trying to say. When I read Isaiah, I'm hearing like what you're talking about here in the Ascension of Isaiah. I'm hearing this in the book of Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
Like where it's talking about they're making idols with their hands. In chapter what is this? Chapter 2 here. They're making the people's sins. Let's see here. Yeah, their land also is full of idols. They worship the works of their own hands. Like, I don't know, a lot of people seem to think that, and I used to think the same thing, that this was something that was happening, and maybe it was in the day of Isaiah when he was alive on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's talking here in chapter 1, it's Jerusalem's future. This is speaking to me like it keeps saying like the end, the day of the Lord, what they'll be doing. I don't know.
So,
maybe the judgment. This one here, chapter 3, the judgment for the woman's pride. This is talking about Babylon right here, Zion, the daughters of Zion.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm going crazy.
So
Man.
Spooky says,
Go ahead.
Depends on what you mean by hell. Sheol in Hebrew cosmology is below our feet, underground. That I would disagree with 100%. Now, I know that like the earth swallowed up some people and all their things or whatever. But when someone dies, do they stay on the earth? Does their spirit stay on the earth or beneath the earth? That's not what happens. I'm only saying this because of all these scriptures. So I don't disagree with you in general on that topic. It's that Sheol, on all these Hebrew cosmology images that we see, they're totally wrong, because they also show pillars underneath the earth that are like holding it up or something, and that's not at all what Hebrew cosmology says. There are pillars, but the pillars are air. It's the four winds are the pillars of the earth. So the four winds, they bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. So and another thing is when God cast them down to hell in 2 Peter 2, I think, the angels that left their first estate, he cast them down to hell. Well, that's down from his perspective. So I'm not saying hell is above the earth or below the earth. I'm saying that in order to get to hell, you have to go sideways 17,000 miles an hour. And don't ask me why. I have no idea.
I
But
got
there's
it.
a go ahead, Thomas.
The Isaiah. That's what I'm saying. Like 13, Babylon will be punished, but Isaiah 14:9 says hell from beneath is moved.
Yeah.
To meet the Lord that is coming.
So hell beneath is moved for thee. What would that mean? I mean, could that mean in our understanding?
Remember the angels were buried in the earth for 70 generations, and then they were led off to the abyss of darkness. I think that's whenever that happened. I don't know. I can't confirm that, but I think that's when hell moved.
That's a good point.
Maybe that moved when Jesus went and conquered hell. Maybe he took them with him. I don't even know how to explain that, but
Spooky's saying that it's Sheol that's moved, not Gehenna. And I would have to, I don't know the difference between the
Gehenna is, I can't say that word right, but that was a place in ancient Israel where they would bury the dead. I don't think that has anything to do where the unrighteous spirits go.
I'm going to look something up here.
I think, if I'm correct, and I might be wrong, I think Gehenna is the place, like when Isaiah was here in Israel or whatever, Jeremiah, when they were there, they had a place outside the city where they would put the dead people. That's what I've been told. I don't know.
Okay, Spooky says Gehenna is the Greek translation used in the New Testament to refer to the lake of fire. So then the lake of fire, in my understanding, isn't on fire yet. Or maybe it is, but it doesn't look like fire.
I'm with you there, Joe. I think the kings of the earth turn it to fire.
I'm just checking the comments here. So I was gonna go to Bible Hub and just look at something.
I can read Enoch 67:10.
I'm asking Spooky a question really quick. Because Spooky says, but it refers to the lake of fire, which is not Sheol at all. And that's something like there's Tartarus, and I think there's different areas, and I don't know which is which. But my question to Spooky would be, the lake of fire. I guess my understanding is that the bottomless pit, it's dark waters, and it lights on fire because of the things being done in it. It changes its temperature, and it says in Enoch 67 that it becomes a fire which burns forever. Let's see here.
It also says that's where those angels who led mankind astray are at. So we would know that would be where those stars are at, those 7 transgressed stars.
Outer darkness, right? I think that would be outer darkness, but
and of course it says that there's different abysses, that there's multiple abysses. So
Okay, let's see here. Hello, everyone, by the way. Good to see anyone here. Okay, so in the book of Enoch,
Where does Lucifer end up going, Joe, in Isaiah 14?
to the sides of the north.
To the pit.
Yeah,
Yep.
to the pit. He thinks he's going to ascending into heaven. That's what it says in Isaiah 14. It says that Lucifer says in his heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. And then I think he says, I will set my congregation in the sides of the north. And according to like the book of Psalms, the sides of the north, that's God's holy mountain. So Satan's saying, I'll put my congregation where your holy mountain is. And then he says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So,
Correct.
and maybe, you know, I don't know what the exact word is there. Actually, I'm going to look it up right now just to see what the Hebrew words were there. My computer's going a little slow, but
see, when I read these, like I said earlier, when I read these Isaiahs, and I used to read them as they were talking about things, and maybe they were, some of it talking about things that were happening then, and maybe it was like a foreshadow. They were doing things on the ground, now they're doing things in heaven. Like they were worshiping idols they were making with their hands then on the ground, and now they're doing it in heaven with satellites.
yeah, his temple, they're defiling it. And he said, do not, what did he say in 2nd Ezra chapter 15? He said, do not pollute my sanctuary. And so what do? They're just doing that. They're trying to do that. They're putting satellites and all these things. That's heaven is up there. And whatever the details of it are, when you know it's the end of the world coming, when men start to do what they did at the Tower of Babel, when they start setting their heart to go up there and setting their heart to take it over and to place their own gods there and serve them. I mean, that's what are satellites? It's the same kind of idea. Okay, here we go. Go ahead, Thomas.
And what I think what keeps, I don't know, like a weight on our heart, I know it does you, and I know it does me, and there's a few others of us too, is like the people that we can see in the story that are sharing the truth, that were given the truth by God, and a lot of them know they've been given the truth by God. They can't see none of this stuff. I don't know why. And a lot of them know the scriptures better than we do.
Well, if you put it this way, Thomas, I think you'll understand what I'm saying here. Okay, I used to live on a globe, and then I found out that I needed to look into that because other people were saying, no, you don't. And so then when I started to look at it, I realized that I don't. Okay, so then I had to say, oh, I was wrong. I was taught wrong. I believed wrong. I was wrong. Okay, so that you have to like humble yourself or whatever. And who cares? That's it's something that should be easy to do, because if we're all wrong, it would be interesting if people acknowledged it. But in the same way that I was wrong, like way wrong, I think that I also used to think that hell was someplace either in the earth or beneath the earth. And now I've understood it to be an actual place that where people actually think they go, but they think it's the future. Like they think that it is the future, science and technology, and we're going to Mars for some stupid reason. But like all that kind of stuff comes from those planets. The desire for men to go there. It's I've said it like this: if you take a 1 acre lot and you build a tall fence on it, going all the way on all 4 sides of the lot, and you put like a lion or a tiger in there, what are they going to do? They're just going to sit and walk the fence and go, I got to get out of here. But if you do it like 1,000 acres, You put a fence around it, drop a lion in there. He don't care about the fence. So he's like, doesn't really matter. But when you put a human in that 1,000 acres or that 1 acre, they're going to find their way out of there, because as soon as they see that there's something beyond the fence, they're like, I'm not staying on this side of the fence. I'm going over there. I'm going to make it happen. So if a star wanted to deceive men, and a star being an angel, literally, and God gave it an order to do a certain thing, and these 7, maybe they conspired together or whatever, and they said, if we do this, then the people down there will think that they won't understand what's happening. And so they take these other forms that literally make men look up and say, we have to go there because it's there. We have to go there. And it's not even a place, it's a spirit of heaven. So go ahead, Thomas, tell me what you think of that.
I just said that's scary. Woo. Because I see that happening. I really do. Like, I was just turned to Revelation right here, and it's talking about Babylon and the whore and the harlots. And
And
those
the 10
harlots,
mountains.
yeah, that's those mountains again, like great burning fire. And it says, you know, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, the 10 horns, and this beast, and this kingdom of darkness, and this mother Babylon, which I call it Mother Babylon to the unrighteous, and to the righteous is Jerusalem, Mother Jerusalem. But this is like taking the souls of men. It's talking about, I can't find that verse, but it's like takes the wheat and the wine and the oil, and it's like destroys everything on earth. And then right there at the end it says, and the souls of men. So I'm like, well, if I see this thing so clearly and I don't say anything to nobody, it's like on my heart every day. I still feel like I'm not doing enough. There's times I'm like, should I quit working and just make signs and run around, and probably end up in jail doing that because it's hard to do.
Just start.
Yeah, like should we drop everything and do this, or is it like it worries me. It really does, because I feel like I'm not doing enough. I don't know why, but I try to do something.
What I think of?
Go ahead.
I can compare it to when Jesus sent out the 70 or whatever to preach the gospel. Just think about it like that. You know, he told them, you know, if you're at a place and they're hearing you out, stay there. But if you go to a place and they reject you right away, don't stay there. Move along to someone that'll listen, you know. And I think that in the same way that Jesus was a carpenter, right? He was at a trade. I'm just saying that life is life. We all have to eat meals every day, and then that's another thing that he said, take no money. Like he said, if someone puts food in front of you, eat it. Like I think it's just like, live your life, but live it for this reason. I think that, like, this is the reason, but we still have, like, I was just over at the shop already today, loading my van with a fireplace surround mantle thing that I'm putting in tomorrow. So we all have to do things to keep life going. So that would be, to me, that would be a job, and that would be taking care of all the things that you have to in order to make tomorrow a thing that you can continue on, that's just part of life. But thank you, Spooky, for hanging out. I enjoyed your questions. Here's an interesting one from SR. It says, Tartarus is where the fallen angels are put in the lowest prison between the 2 compartments that have a gulf in between, where one side is torment and the other is other paradise. I think that's right, because you're saying it's the put in the lowest prison below the 2 compartments that have a gulf in between. And I think that would probably be like the bottomless pit or whatever. I think that's right.
Maybe the untransgressed stars are up there in the paradise area, and the planets are underneath them, and we just don't know it.
I didn't even think of that.
Is it weird that when you, because I'm with you, the ISS isn't fake. There's a deception behind it. But isn't it weird when you see the ISS, you don't see any stars? But when you're on the ground looking in the night sky, they're like everywhere.
Well, that isn't. I don't think that's true, because like if you just go to YouTube and type in star trails from the space station, you'll get video of star trails from the space station. Like they take images of stars all the time. Like not like I think they should. They don't take, like, if they're actually there with cameras, they should be doing long exposure shots of the stars constantly. But I don't ever see anything like that. But you can, they do film stars from the space station all the time. So but maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, but I think that's it's one of those things I think that some flat earthers have said, but that aren't true. But I might be wrong.
I do see some stars from the ISS. I'm not saying that, but what I'm
Okay.
saying, like, I know you're in Minnesota, you're in the north. When I'm out here, like, let's just say Tennessee in the mountains or whatever, in the middle of the night, maybe I stop at like midnight, I'll look up and there's stars everywhere. And I'm thinking, okay, from the ISS, they're like out of the earth. They're in that realm up there. Wouldn't it be like, wow, like you'd see stars everywhere? Like when you're watching the ISS footage, whatever, all you really see is darkness. I have seen some stars here and there, but I'm just saying, I'm like, where are the stars at? Like, are they in a different area, or I don't know? Are the
You'd
stars?
have to ask Sean Griffin about that. I bet you he'd know the answer.
I don't think we're gonna know that answer. I'm just saying.
No, I would say, I don't know if you heard me. We're gonna have to do something about Bluetooth or whatever. It's getting worse, it seems like. But Sean Griffin, I think, and I don't know where it is in the Apocalypse of Abraham, maybe, where it tells what heaven or what firmament or whatever that the stars are actually in. Maybe it's the 5th or the 3rd or something. I'm not sure, but I know he says something about that, so I would check with him on that. But here's a good question by Skull Asylum. It says, and I'm going to give you a verse. I'm going to read a verse that answers this question very clearly. And that is, I'm just going to grab my Bible and just read it, because I don't have to open a page on my slow computer. In Revelation 18, verse 2, an angel says what Babylon, or what Babylon is. And it gives us a pretty clear idea of okay, we've been talking about this prison for these evil stars or whatever. We've been talking about in Enoch chapter 19, and Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits assuming many different forms are defiling mankind. So that prison is also where these Genesis 6 angels, these fallen angels, are put. And that is, it does say that in chapter 10 of the book of Enoch. It says they shall be led off to the abyss of fire after those 70 generations. But in Revelation 18, verse 2, or I'll just read 1 and 2, it says, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich by her aerospace. Sorry, I said that wrong. Through the abundance of her delicacies. So it says it's a prison, though, when it says that it's a hold for evil spirits and a cage for unclean birds. The word there is used prison. It's prison for this, prison for that. And that's just in the Greek. I'm just saying that the word is the same word. It's a prison. So it is a prison for evil spirits. Babylon is. What's interesting to me about that is in chapter 17, remember how Enoch said that these 7 stars were like great burning mountains? Well, in chapter 17, there's this place where John was taken in the spirit. So it's a spiritual place. This angel said, carried him away. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Forgot where I was going with that, guys. Oh, those mountains.
Yeah, you're gonna talk about the
Yeah.
8th one.
So then it says in verse 8, so that he sees this woman riding this beast, and then so he says about the beast, he says, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. So they're going to see this beast that is scarlet colored. They're going to see it and they're going to wonder at it. By the way, the space station is scarlet colored. Just saying. But then he says, and here's the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. To me, those are the planets. The mountains. And this woman, Babylon, sits on these, or is that what it says? The 7 heads are 7 mountains. So this beast had 7 heads. There's 7 mountains.
Yeah, while you're talking about that ISS being the color of a leopard,
Yeah.
I wanted to read Jeremiah 5 because I just found this one like a couple weeks ago. It says, I will get me unto, or is it, no, 6. Wherefore a lion, which makes me think of Daniel 7:4, because the first was like a lion. Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and a wolf of the evening shall spoil them. It says, a leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goes out thence shall be torn in pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backslidings are increased. Yeah, that's what I said. Wow.
Can you read that again?
I know, I said the same thing when I read that. Because I've been listening to Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Psalms like every day. It says, wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and a wolf out of the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goeth out thence shall be torn in pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backslidings are increased. That's
So that,
that's 5:6, Jeremiah 5:6.
and it said that there was a lion that, what did it say the lion did?
It slays them, shall slay them.
Okay,
And
I got to read something to you.
yeah, they all connect. They do, man. Like all these prophets connect, and I think they're talking about this time we're in. So go ahead.
Okay, so in 2nd Esdras, he sees a vision. And I'm trying to find the right part of it. I just opened it up here. He sees a vision of a lion doing that, pretty much doing that. Let me, I went to Wikisource and I should just go to Bible Gateway or whatever. I think, let's see, is that there somewhere? Oh, there's the first one. Here we go. Let me look at this. Okay. It's chapter 12. Okay, here we go. It's the end of chapter 11. Sorry, guys. This is very interesting. Okay, so he was being shown a vision, the same vision that was being shown to his brother Daniel, but it was shown in a different way. Okay, so after he kind of sees the vision, he sees another part, or he's told to look a different way or something. Let's see here. Okay, I heard a voice saying, this is Second Esdras chapter 12, verse 30 or 11, verse 36. I heard a voice saying to me, look in front of you and consider what you see. I looked and saw something like a lion being roused, roaring out of the forest. I heard how he spoke in a human voice and said to the eagle, listen, you, and I will speak to you. The Most High says to you, aren't you the last of the 4 beasts that I made to rule in my world so that I might bring about the end of my times through them? You, the 4th, has come, conquered all the beasts that came before you, ruling over the world with much terror and over the whole world with harsh oppression. You have lived in the world with deceit for so long. You judge the earth, but not in truth. For you have oppressed the meek and injured those who caused no unrest. You hated those who spoke truth and loved liars. You destroyed the dwellings of those who bore fruit and tore down the walls of those who had done you no harm. Your insolence has ascended to the Most High. What does it mean to ascend? Has ascended to the Most High, and your pride to the Mighty One. The Most High has reviewed his times. Look, they are finished, and his ages are complete. Therefore, eagle, you must utterly vanish, you and your terrifying wings, your dreadful little wings and your evil heads and your dreadful talons and all your worthless body. Then the whole earth will be refreshed and restored, set free from your violence, and will hope for the judgment and mercy of him who made it. Wow.
They're going to be set free before the destruction.
I think that's right now.
Yep. And listen,
that's why truth is here. That's why truth is here. And when people are fighting against the truth, they don't understand what they're throwing away.
Listen what you said right there at the beginning of that, because I've heard that before. That's at the end of Second Esdras, ain't it? Towards the end.
Yep.
You said that it was a lion out of the forest. Ain't that what it said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says right here in Jeremiah. Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them.
It's exactly what this is.
That leopard watching over their cities. As soon as I heard that, I was like, wow, that's the ISS. Like literally.
It is. Like, I don't understand why there aren't more people like really talking about this. Every single apocrypha book and every single prophet in the Bible literally describes some of these things all happening. Like, okay, this is 2 Esdras 12, verse 1. While the lion was saying these words to the eagle, I looked and saw that the head had prevailed, disappeared. And the 2 wings, prevailed. That's in Daniel 7. Was it the he-goat or the ram that prevailed against it was the little horn that prevailed against the saints.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
And so it says so these wings, that's what it's talking about, because it says in this vision that the same vision was given to Daniel, but it was given in a different way. That's right in here somewhere. It says to your brother right here. It says, he said to me, this is the interpretation of the vision that you saw. The eagle you saw rising from the sea is the 4th kingdom. It appeared in a vision to your brother Daniel, but it wasn't interpreted for him as I now interpret it for you or have shown it to you. Look, the days are coming when the kingdom will rise on earth, or a kingdom will rise on earth that will be more terrifying than all the kingdoms that came before it. SpaceX. 12 kings will rule in it, one after the other. The second one to rule will have a longer time than the rest of the 12. This then is the interpretation of the 12 wings that you saw. So it's probably the horns. It's probably the same thing as the horns. But it says that I looked and saw that the head that had prevailed disappeared and the 2 wings that had gone over it to rise up so that they might rule. But their rule was weak and chaotic. I watched as they disappeared, and the whole body of the eagle was burned, and the earth was filled with fear.
You know what it's like there, Joe? Because I've listened to that before, and I think it's a little further. It talks about they collide with each other or something. it sounds like, I'm just going to say this, the Falcon Heavy and the boosters colliding with each other in the air.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like two boosters colliding with each other and making a big fire.
Oh, here
Like-
it is. I know what you're talking about. Let me read it. It says, it's talking about the eagle with the wings, and it's talking about the 8 wings there that were opposing. So there was like 2 different ones or whatever. And let's see, this is crazy. In verse 22, this is in 2nd Ezra chapter 12. It says, as for the fact that you saw 3 heads at rest, this is the interpretation. In the last period, the Most High will raise up 3 kings, and he will renew many things in it. They will rule the earth and greatly oppress those who dwell on it, more than all the rest who were before them. Therefore, they are called the heads of the eagle, because they will sum up its acts of impiety and complete its last deeds. As for your seeing the biggest head, or as for your seeing the biggest head disappear, one of the kings will die on his bed, though in agonies. As to the 2 who are left, the sword will destroy them. The sword of one of them will destroy the one who is with him, but he too will fall by the sword in the last days. As for your seeing the 2 small wings passing over the head on the right, this is the interpretation. The Most High is keeping these for the eagle's end. This rule will be weak and full of upheaval, as you saw. The lion, whom you saw rousing itself from the forest and roaring, and speaking to the eagle and rebuking it for its deeds of injustice. As for all the words that you heard him speaking, this is the anointed one. The Most High has kept him for the end of days. He will arise from the line of David, and he will come and speak to them. He will deny. Okay, you guys hear that? He will come and speak to them. That the reason why I'm saying that is because don't miss it. We're being taught things from the heavenly realm that have not been known. They've not been uttered before in this world. So when a lot of people think there's a flat earth globe debate, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that.
For sure.
And actually, this brings up one thing that I should mention about it. It's in the vision of the vision of St. Paul that we were looking at earlier, where he went in the firmament and he saw power that deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men. So he goes up to the 3rd heaven, up to paradise, and I'll have to find it here, but he sees this wonderful place, and he mentions the word Oceanus. Let me see if was it Control F? I'm going to try to find that here. He mentions a land being made known that was hidden. Okay, here it is. Okay. This is crazy stuff. So we're in a different book. We're in the vision of St. Paul the Apostle. I don't know if it's chapter 21, I'm guessing, or whatever. I don't think they have verses. It's kind of a different format. But it says, and the angel answered and said to me, whatever I now show thee here, and whatever thou shalt hear, tell to Noah, not to anyone in the earth. So remember when Paul said he heard words that weren't lawful for man to speak? So that's what he's talking about here. He says, and he led me and showed me, and there I heard words which is not lawful for a man to speak. And again he said, for now follow me, I will show thee what thou oughtest to narrate in public and relate. So he says, don't say any of this, but here's what I'll show you now what you're supposed to write. And he took me down from the 3rd heaven and led me into the 2nd heaven. And again he led me onto the firmament, from the firmament he led me over the doors of heaven. The beginning of its foundation was on a river which waters all the earth. And I asked the angel and said, Lord, what is this river of water? And he said to me, this is Oceanus. And suddenly I went out of heaven, and I understood that it is the light of heaven which lightens all the earth. For the land there is 7 times brighter than silver. And I said, Lord, what is this place? And he said to me, this is the land of promise. Hast thou never heard what is written? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. The souls, therefore, of the just, when they have gone out of the body, are meanwhile dismissed to this place. And I said to the angel, then this land will be manifested before the time? And the angel answered and said to me, when Christ, whom thou preachest, shall come to reign, then by the sentence of God, the first earth will be dissolved, and this land of promise will then be revealed. And it will be like dew or cloud. And then the Lord Jesus Christ, the King eternal, will be manifested and will come with all his saints to dwell in it. And he will reign over them 1,000 years, and they will eat of the good things which I shall now show unto thee. So there's a land of promise. And what this just said was that when the souls of the just, like it's talking about Abraham's bosom, when the souls of the just, where was that? When they have gone out of the body, are meanwhile dismissed to this place. They go to paradise, guys. I know people say that they don't, but they go to paradise. So in my understanding, Abraham's bosom is in paradise, which is actually, it's where Oceanus is. I have no idea where that is, but it is, okay. It's in a land that's going to be manifested before the end. You guys, we're talking about flat earth.
We're being put in the new land. Well, it's actually the land that was removed from Abraham or Eve also.
Flat earth.
That's the land that Abraham went and searched for, whose builder and maker is God.
Oh,
it's built
yeah.
without. Yep.
Yep. He stepped out not knowing where he was going.
Yep. Isn't that amazing?
It's blowing my mind right now because I forget, like, there's so many different aspects to just this entire thing that I just forget about some of them. I'm like, whoa. So Paul was shown a mystery, and that brings me to like Romans 16, the very end, when he says that he preached his gospel according to that mystery. And so this is why I'm saying that I think they killed Jesus because he told them that earth wasn't a ball. He told them, because remember those stars that transgressed their order? It says at the beginning of their rising. So this idea of a solar system has been all throughout time. It's not a 500-year-old idea. It's been all throughout time. And people understood it different ways, like a lot of different cosmologies. But it's been deceiving people in the world all throughout time. And actually, one thing that makes me say that, I don't know if you caught this in our text that we're going back and forth, Thomas, but I was trying to point this out. So Babylon the Great, or Mystery Babylon, it says in here that, where is it here? It says, this is in Revelation 18, verse 23, towards the end of it. It says, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all who were slain upon the earth. All. So if you were slain upon the earth, like I'm just going to say my grandmother passed away, when she was slain on the earth, that, what does it say right there? It said, and in her, not her, my grandma, but in Babylon was found the blood of the prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. So I think, I don't know, I think that this deception that we are seeing through is a deception that goes all the way back to the fourth day of creation because of those 7 stars. What do you got to say, Tommy?
Well, my mom died when she was 37, and I remember her saying something about Earth, that there was people that thought the Earth was flat.
Really?
This is like in 2000, 2001. She told me one time, she's like, because I was big into NASA, space science, and she was like, there's people that throughout time they thought the Earth was flat. I didn't even I don't even think I laughed about it. I was like, oh, really? I didn't know that. It's weird. I hope she made it. I hope she makes it, put it that way.
Well, it's one of those things that I think, and I think like people, okay, let me read something about it. Okay, let me explain just with a few words. Okay, so if we were born into a lie, and I don't mean a lie that people are telling, okay? I mean a lie that the devil is telling. If we're born into this lie, and so the reality we live in has this understanding of this lie, what would someone be able to do to come out of the lie? You need truth to present itself somehow, right? So otherwise, you're not even gonna think there's a lie. Just like we didn't think there was a lie our whole lives growing up on a globe. But then truth came into the world and we had to test it and say, well, wait a minute. I believed a lie my whole life. So if someone believes a lie, but the truth isn't revealed, I don't think they're held accountable for believing that lie. It's just because there was no truth to choose over the lie, to have faith in, to believe in. And actually, man, I'm going to go to Romans really quick. It's just Paul's, he words it that way. Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery which was kept secret since the world began. So it doesn't say that was kept secret for 500 years, but it says since the world began, but now is made manifest, and by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the everlasting God, made known to all nations for the obedience of faith. So that was what I think that's what Paul is talking about. This truth that people think is so dumb is actually the mystery that's being revealed to the saints. But Jesus said in John chapter, I can't remember. Is it 5? No, it's 3. Oh boy, I can't even remember. He's talking about, it sounds like Jesus says something about that they won't be held accountable. Like that if the truth isn't available and if you believed a lie and the truth wasn't made known or something, what is that? Is it in John? You know what? I'm going to look at my text to you, Thomas, because I just put it in there. Like not less than a week ago. Let's see here. I think it's in here.
Jeremiah 4.
Or is it John 15? I think it's John 15. It is John 15. Sorry, guys. I kind of just forgot what chapter I was looking for. In 15, you guys tell me what you think about this. I'll just read verses 22 to the 27. And this is Jesus talking. He says, if I had not come and spoken unto them, then they had not had sin. But now they have no cloak for their sin. He that hateth me hateth my Father also. If I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had sin. But now they have both seen and both hated me and my Father. But this cometh to pass, that the word might be fulfilled that is written in their law. They hated me without a cause. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me, and ye shall also bear witness, because you've been with me from the beginning. So when he's saying that you would have no sin, if I had not come and spoken unto you, that they had not had sin. But now, since he had come, now they have no cloak for their sin. So I think, like you were talking about your mom, Tommy, and you said, I hope she makes it or whatever. I think that we live in a time that's, to be honest, more difficult of a time once truth is revealed, because it makes people have to make a choice. And if they choose not to make a choice, then they're just not interested in the truth or whatever. I don't even know how to. Of course, everything I say too is from my point of view. So I'm just sharing my point of view. I'm not making a proclamation of what's right or wrong or anything. I'm just from my point of view, my opinion. What do you think, Tommy?
Somewhere, what weighs on me is somewhere in Ezekiel. I could try to find it, but somewhere in the 20s, I think he's talking about, Noah. Was it Noah, Job, and someone else had power? They didn't have power to deliver the people around them, or something like that. He's talked about the people that were. I think it's talked about those people and that Jesus is talking about there in John. When the Comforter comes, they have power to deliver other people, like by their word, by their testimony, by their words. Also, it talks about that in Revelation too, that the things that they'd be saying would be delivering other people. Because remember, John saw the 144,000, and then he saw another multitude being gathered from them people. And I'm not saying like these people are more special than those people, or those are saved and those ain't. No, these are like this group of people are put in the world. Don't ask me how that happens. I say that in like every Facebook video. I don't know. They're like placed in heaven, shown the things. They were with God in the beginning. I don't know how that works, but I'm starting to see these people that are trying to deliver other people around them. And somewhere in Ezekiel, it talks about them people.
It might talk about them in 2nd Ezra chapter 13 too. It says that many, when they were going to the Son of God or the Son of Man or whatever, many brought others as offerings or something like that. So I don't know if that is relevant, but so let's talk about what Skull Asylum is saying in the chat here. Here we go. Skull Asylum says, Flat Earth is a theory and you're pointing to it as truth. It's truth to me, but a person that lives on a globe, it's not truth to them. It's not a theory, it's a belief. There's a big difference between a theory and a belief. Lee Redpath says heliocentric is a theory. And that is true, but even maybe a better describing word would be a belief, because it is a theory and flat Earth is a theory, but I think more importantly, the globe is a belief and flat Earth is a belief, something that people believe. So when Skull says exactly two theories colliding, I would say two beliefs colliding. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say there. And then you guys were talking about like FE core and some of the laser tests and things like that. They laser tested the whole sea. They don't have to. Water is water. It doesn't act any different here than it does over at your neighbor's house. Knowing you've been lied to equals knowing the truth. No, Skull, let me try to explain just with simple words what I mean when I say the truth being revealed. The Son of God is teaching us this truth because he's flying with the clouds of heaven and uttering his voice. And it's in all these visions that these prophets had that he was going to do that. And there would be people that gather up together to go against him and he'd destroy those people. But there would also be this other group of people that would join him in and believe him. Okay. And there'd be a lot of people within his borders that he saved. So it's like the truth comes from him, and it's not a theory. It says that I already read that in 1 John chapter 2. It's not a lie and is the truth. So if I was to say that the earth is not rotating, we can all verify that truth by simply looking at the ground and noticing that it's not rotating. Get what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to like be too argumentative or technical, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. Belief is truth. Well, tell me this: when It all depends on what you believe, Skull. Did God send the Spirit of truth to guide you into the truth? Because I know that happened to me. I know that he's guiding me into the truth. I'm following him wherever he might go. And I don't know where he might go.
Same here.
Good morning, Phil. 1476.
What does Isaiah 40 and Luke 3 say, Joe?
Oh, it talks about the shape of the earth, literally the shape of the ground, changing or being changed. And it says that that's the glory of God being revealed. And in Luke 3, it says that it's all flesh shall see the salvation of God. So it's not just a theory. So hope you understand what I'm going there.
Flat Earth is the revelation of Jesus Christ.
It is. And that also explains why it's a worldwide thing that's happening. It's not just a group of people or something. It's a whole world being judged for believing all these evil things. Because
you want to know tribulation? Tell the people around you that you believe the earth is flat and it's not a globe.
yeah, if you want to be beaten in the synagogues, like Jesus said, they will beat you in the synagogues. If you want to do that, just go tell them that the earth is flat, and they'll kick you right out of their synagogue. They'll be like, "Yeah, we don't want you to come back. Oh, we don't like that. Talk about that stuff in our Bible study. So we'd just be better off if you found a different Bible study." That's what they'll tell you, and it'll be like expected because it's exactly what Jesus said. You'll be hated for my name's sake. And what is flat Earth? Well, flat Earth is the creation that he described speaking. That's what he spoke. Is it? I mean, in the Bible, how many times does it say that the earth doesn't move, that it's solid, it's established, that it be not moved? So his word is truth. So yes, it is truth. If that makes sense, what I'm saying there.
And in Revelation, they were singing a new song, a song of Moses.
Yep. And the Song of the Lamb. How big is the flat earth? How did you measure it? Doesn't it say something about that in Job? Yeah, well, I don't think you'd be able to measure the earth. It actually says no man can do that. Like in the book of Enoch, chapter 93, it says, who is there among men that can know the height of the stars and how great they are or whatever? That is one interesting thing. It says that the sevenfold doctrine of all his creation would be revealed to those people. Interesting.
The reason why flat Earth is here is so people will get out of Babylon.
Yep.
That's the main reason why it's here.
Phil 1476 says, however, after years of being laughed at, a few people nearby, they have become now flat earthers, one step closer to Jesus. You know what? That's awesome too, because that does happen a lot where people, and you know what? It's like, I just see this to be the grace of God. We were born in it. It's like not our fault that we believe in a solar system and all this garbage and don't believe what the Bible says and don't believe that God has his throne literally up in the sky. That's not our fault. I mean, we were taught about this solar system being reality. And until you look at it in a different way, it's going to be your reality. I mean, people argue for it every day. They debate against flat earth all the time. And they will continue to do that until the sky rolls up like a scroll. So they won't be ready for that either. They'll be blind to that just as well as all the things happening in the stars that they're blind to. People actually want to debate against me and tell me that the stars aren't rotating, that the stars aren't in motion. They say that the stars are just there and we are moving. We're rotating. That's why the stars look like that. And I'm like, nope. My sidereal motors on my telescope prove you wrong. The sky is moving. All the objects, the lights in the sky, if you want to look at them through a telescope, you'll need to track them if you don't want them to just go right by. You have to follow them, and you have to move your telescope to mimic the movement of the stars. They rotate. So people would say that that's not true. And I would say, well, then you just believe a lie.
See, the world's been gathered to the pit. They were it talks about it in all these. I know it talks about it in Jeremiah and Isaiah.
Enoch.
And Enoch too. They were gathered into the pit by that net. And then you're gonna be in that apostate generation where everybody fell
sinking into Sheol in the presence of the elect.
Yep. There's so many things happening.
Enoch saw a dream when he was young of him. He saw the earth and a bunch of trees and everything being swallowed up into an abyss. And I'm like, isn't that the globe? The globe's being swallowed up into an abyss right now. I hope you don't live on it. Like in a certain way. I'm not saying like physically. I'm saying the globe is... Why is the globe orbiting the sun? Because the sun is bending space-time and the earth is riding the wave, you know? Like they literally believe it's falling around the sun. So everything on earth is in a state of free fall, they say. But since earth has its own gravity, we stick to the surface like Velcro. What a joke. But we probably aren't going to go much longer than this just because I have some things to take care of. And I know Thomas has a busy schedule also. One thing I was going to say is that, so this is something, I don't know if we'll do it like every Sunday or what, but I think me and Thomas are going to start to try to talk about these things more often. And Thomas, we have to do something about our technical, whatever audio issue. Because
I think what it is, I'm getting feedback. So what I'm going to do is I'm either going to try to get some kind of, I did try to turn my headset Bluetooth on, but it wouldn't let me do it. So
do you have
do
you have a headphone jack in your, are you on a phone right now?
Yeah, I'm on my phone. You know what I'll probably do is end up just getting me a laptop. I need to get one anyway.
Well, I think also if you have headphones, if your phone has, it depends on if your phone has a headphone jack, but if you use headphones, the Bluetooth is going to interfere more than the headphones.
Well, I'm not even on Bluetooth. I'm just coming right off. But what it's doing is the volume from the phone is feeding back. Because when you're talking, my little speaker thing is flashing, so I know it's getting some feedback. So
and
yeah, maybe
just need to have headphones. You don't have a pair of headphones, do you?
Probably what I need to do. Try that.
Because that's what I'm doing right now, and it works. But
yeah, I was trying to see if you were wearing headphones. Yeah, that's what I need to do. So that's what I'll get this week for sure.
Yeah, and then like my mic would pick up what you were saying, like really loud if I didn't have the headphones. But I like the comments. And yeah, Skull, you know I'm not, you know how I'm just talking back and forth with you. You know that. Skull says, and it's probably a good thing to read. Skull says, my point is don't let flat earth beliefs separate you from globe believers. That is why flat earth was I disagree with, but that's why flat earth was released and it's working well to divide people. Well, I would say that it wasn't released. It was revealed it's the revelation of Jesus Christ. So
remember when
there's truth. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Remember when that sword comes, what it's going to do?
Divide. That's what I was just thinking of, because I said, well, Skull is right. He's right all the way right here. I don't like the term was released, because that gives the intention that like somebody was holding this information. It's more that it wasn't ever known by anyone. And when Jesus came 2,000 years ago to try to tell people, they just killed him for it. And they didn't recognize that he actually spoke it all and that he's the architect of it. And so they crucified him on a tree. But But it is true that it's working well to divide people. Definitely true. He said, think not that I come to send peace, but a sword. So there's things that's definitely true. So, yeah. So Thomas, what do you got to say before we wind it up?
I don't think I can put it in words.
You can try.
I know, like you, man, these things, they run through my mind 24/7. I've been listening, and I'll turn on Ezekiel or Isaiah for like 3 hours, 4 hours straight and just listen to it.
I was listening to Rob Skiba's oh, sorry, Tommy. I was listening to Rob Skiba's channel yesterday. I don't remember what it was called, but it was some good stuff. They were listening to Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, and it just grabbed me. And what Rob was talking about just grabbed a hold of me for a minute. It was good stuff. Very interesting stuff. But go ahead, Tommy. I interrupted you again.
Oh, no, you're good, man. I'm definitely going to get some headphones, though, for sure. Next time
I think it'll help. It'll
yeah,
help.
probably what it is. That does get aggravating. And I tried to listen to the last stream we did, and I just kept hearing noise in the background.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out, because I think as far as me and Tommy have talked, and as far as we're concerned, there wouldn't be enough that we could do to at least get people to try to understand some of the, I don't know what you even call it, some of the things that we're learning seem to be important things, but definitely a lot to talk about. So we'll be doing this more often.
Yeah, I wanted to end with the Bible verse like last weekend, if I could.
Yes, please.
Ezekiel 33. I think that's the one I was talking about. It says, it's Ezekiel as a watchman. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, and he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me. When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou does not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. And that's a big one there.
Yeah, well, and sometimes I know that, like, each one of us probably, it might be about different subjects or different parts of the subject or whatever, but you feel like you understand something, and you'll see other people that aren't aware of what you're seeing, and then so you just have this strong desire that they understand. They don't have to agree with you or anything, but at least if they're aware of something that they might not be at the time, or a possibility, or a different way to look at something or understand it. If you don't say anything, who's that going to help? So if God shows you something, he's what Thomas just read. He's saying that if I reveal something to you, you are to warn the people, or that you're supposed to give the information that I showed you to other people. If you don't, and they don't realize it because you didn't tell them, it's your ass. Excuse my language. That's just what like the way that I take it. So I take it seriously when I understand something that it seems like other people don't see it the same or whatever. I'd still keep saying it because I didn't learn it from myself. And I know Tommy is the kind of the same, says the same thing.
Yeah, the other day I was at Pilot, and I just took a shower, and I came out of the shower, was doing my break, and there was a lady and her little girl. They were looking at the Bibles on the rack at the Pilot, and I said, "That's the best book ever written, right there." And she said something, and I was like, "Yeah, if they only knew." And I walked away, and when I got out of the Pilot, I about fell in tears. I was like, "Man, I should have said something. God, I should have said something."
Well, you did.
I mean, what do I do? Do I stand there, and it's not about the time. I'd sit there all day. I don't care about that. But it's like, I thought to myself, I was like, if I would have told her the things I know, you know, I'm not even worried about her judging me or that guy's crazy or whatever. I don't care about that. I'm like, would it really even connected, even considered the things I was going to tell her? Because I feel like that, man. I tell these people, and I do get a few that you can tell they connected what you're saying. It's not what I'm saying, it's what these prophets are saying, but I'm just trying to say it as clear as I can say it, because these words, the way these prophets said these things, they're not really easy to understand. They're not. You can read like many other pastors are doing every day. They're reading this book and they're not saying it the way, it's not like I see it and they don't. I mean, but it's like, it's, I don't even know how to put it in words.
I like Sean Griffin came to mind right now because he was, I don't know if it was a debate or it was maybe just a conversation he was having that someone that disagreed with him, and something that he said, and he said it all the time. He says it all the time when people, oh, that's what it was. It was Jim Bob, and like he had gone to try to share something with like 3 other guys that were on a stream or whatever, and so they were kind of ganging up on him at the same time, like three other people that had a different belief. I don't know if it was about the Trinity or what it was about, but what Sean said was, because they kept saying, well, I don't agree with your interpretation, and he's like, words have meanings. These words, we have like commonly used words that we all agree upon the meaning of those words are in there, and when you look at those words, we have a language, and there's a reason why something makes sense, and those words have very specific meanings in that what makes sense. And if you some of it's not to interpret, some of it they're like it, like how, I don't remember what they were debating, but Sean is right, the words have meanings. This whole subject of the creation and then like all of these prophecies and stuff, they have very specific words in them that these prophets wrote down, and I know that we can understand a lot about what those prophets were trying to show us by using the simple words and the commonly agreed upon meanings of those words. So yeah, I think so. Should I play I feel like playing the beginning of this video again just for fun, and then we'll probably head out. So say goodbye to Tommy. Tommy, say goodbye to everyone, and thank you guys.
I appreciate you letting me come on, man. And yeah, for sure, we need to do it more. I'll have headphones next weekend.
Yeah, we'll test it out a little before, and hopefully we will have not the laborsome trying to mute and all that stuff. But yeah, thank you, Tommy, as always, and
much love, everybody. Keep sharing the truth as much as you can.
Yeah, I like that. Be bold and shout it from the rooftops. So we're just gonna play on our way out. We're just gonna play this video that talks about these 7 wandering stars. And thank you guys all for hanging out. And after that, we'll talk to you next time. So I called this number 2 because last week we talked about that we're not struggling against flesh and blood. I think that's the reason why we ended up here today. Well, who are we struggling against? And so hopefully we get some we all get some understanding from each other. And so next week we'll do number 3, I think, and I don't know exactly what will be yet, but I am looking forward to this. So thank you, Tommy. And here's the video we're going to check out. Whoops. Oh, here. Sorry.
This I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it, and there was no water upon it, and no birds. But it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars, like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. And Uriel said to me, Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of." I saw there 7 stars, like great burning mountains.
Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords, and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
And he saith unto me,
The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, ye shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
This is not a theory. This is not a guess. This is scripture. Enoch was shown the heavens, and he was shown the prison where there was 7 stars of heaven, bound together in the heavens because they didn't come out at their appointed times. Then John went there, and he saw the same 7 mountains, and when he went, it was at the end. And at the end, there was an 8th wandering star. Today in 2019, we have an 8th wandering star. It's on a schedule, and you can go outside and look at it on that schedule because it will fly over your house. So that beast is what the world wonders at when they behold it. Revelation 17 verse 8 talks about that. Don't believe in an orbiting space station when God created a flat earth with heaven above, in which God sits on his throne.